2, 1, go. Alright, so we're playing Wonder Boy The Dragon's Trap. It's a remake of Wonder Boy 3, The Dragon's Trap from 1989 for the Sega Master System. And this game starts right before the last boss in Wonder Boy 3. And the boss is called Mecha Dragon. And since this kind of is a prequel to the game, Mecha Dragon is a pushover. We kill him, and now we get the curse. And we turn into Lizard Man. And, the premise of the game is that we must find the Salamander Cross to regain our humanity. And as we leave the burning castle, we're gonna collect 15 coins in order to buy a sword in the market. And there's a small time save coming up here as we ascend to the surface. Right here you'll notice that he crouches, which allows him to ride the pillar to the top as it's being built. Had he just been standing there, he would have been pushed off, and we would have to wait for the pillar to assemble itself before we could have jumped up. So we save a couple of seconds there. This is where the game starts, and I have deja vu because we did this 6 months ago, last summer, and now we're back. So it's good to be back. So we are heading to the beach to pick up a key. And this run is the no major skips category, so we will take an intentional death when we get the key, because it's faster to death warp back to town than what it is to walk back. And we're not allowed in this speedrun category to save and quit out, so we have to take a death. So we take some intentional damage to set up the death and pick up the key, and then we just go outside and say hello to the crabs again. So now that we get back into town, we're going to pick up a safety heart, and we basically do that for the sake of the run. We're going for kind of a glass cannony build, so we're only going to get what we need and an extra heart. It's just to make sure that we can go through with the run if anything goes wrong. We also get the sword, and now we're off to hunt the mummy dragon. The no major skips run itself is very straightforward. It's basically playing the game as fast as possible with the best item route as possible, and just hope for good RNG. Not stuff like that. there's very little we can kind of how do you say, compensate for if something goes bad, because we're not skipping anything, so a roadblock will be a roadblock until the end of the run. Gonna pick up some cash for later. Another key. As we come up to the Mummy Dragon fight, the goal for us is to manipulate his attack pattern so that he doesn't attack in a specific way. I'm going to tell you about it when we get there. So what we want to try to do is manipulate his attack pattern, and we try to do that by attacking the third time as close to the left side as possible, which hopefully stops the boss from attacking all the way out to the left, which makes it easier for us to hit him, and he becomes more predictable. We don't want him flying high like that. So it's an okay fight. Could have been better. So now we become the Mouse Man. And the Mouse Man, he can traverse checked blocks, like you see here. He can go around them upside down, vertically, which gives him the ability to reach places the other characters can't. So we're gonna pick up some cash, and we're going to buy some safety armor and a shield. Money, 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 money. Just the money mouse. And we're also buying a sword. And then we are off to hunt Zombie Dragon. Alright, so this is a remake and it's developed by Lizard Cube. And when we did this 6 months ago, I said it was a straight remake, kind of glitches and all. And we happened to have a dev in the Twitch chat at that time who were watching the run. And he actually pointed out that he had removed several glitches and bugs. So I'm sorry, I stand corrected. Still, I mean, the remake is as true to the original as it can be. The gameplay is reversed engineered from the Master System code. It was released on most platforms in 2017, but it gained most traction on the Switch, which to this day I think also is kind of outselling all the other platforms. The road to Zombie Dragon is not a difficult one, it's just long, tedious, and like we said last time. Oh, and there was the boomerang. So okay, we just managed to get one of the best magic items, or the best magic item in the game actually. It will be awesome for us in the end game stages. The pesky samurai and ninjas jumping around. So. That was some sweet RNG actually. But other than that, the road to Zombie Dragon is a tedious one, so if this had been a charity run, now would have been a good time for donations. Because there's not much more we can do than watch. What you can keep an eye out for though is you might notice that the previous bosses too, that before we enter the boss room, Physica switch the mode from the remake to classic 8-bit mode, and we do that because it saves like a second or two. Since the remake has a short kind of cutscene introducing the boss, and that cutscene is not present in 8-bit mode. So by switching just before we enter the boss door, we can skip the cutscene and thus save a couple of seconds throughout the run. And, another thing to note about the Zombie Dragon is that he can have his bad days and his good days. On a good day he will be kind to us and not stand in the acid for too long, come up where we want him, when we want him, but if he's got a bad day, then he will just swim around indefinitely, and there's nothing we can do to control his pattern. So we just wait and hope for RNGesus to be on our side, which he actually seems to be. He's being good to us. Alright, so he's done for. Now we become Piranha Man, a fish guy, and his special ability is that he can swim. Now we pick up a bonus key right there, and just remember that, because that will save us some time and effort in the late game. but it's important that we pick that one up now. And then we take another safety heart, and now we're actually going on a detour, because now we need to pick up a couple of items that we're going to need for the rest of the run. We're going to pick up the Thunder Ring, and we do that to be able to break breakable blocks, and that in turn will allow us to get the magic sword, which allows us to make blocks at certain points in the game. And on the way there, we're going to procure the dragon armor in order to walk in lava. That is something that Lizardman can already do, but we need also to be able to swim. So we gotta get the Fishman immune to lava, and that's why we're getting the dragon armor. So now that we have the armor, we can now walk in lava without taking any damage. The mobs are being really annoying, but the boomerang is really helping out as well. So hopefully we can make up for it over the course of the run. Since we got the boomerang early, we can make good use of it. So in order to get through the pool of water, we had to be Lizardman, and now we have to be Mouseman in order to get up to the actual chest. And here's the Thunder Ring, and now we can break those brown blocks. So now we're gonna go get the Muramasa, which is the strongest sword in the game. We're also going to go get the magic sword that I talked about before, to be able to create blocks out of the gray star block patterns that we can find in certain points in the game. Yeah, so these star pattern blocks are the ones you can create blocks out of with a magic sword, like so. And now that we can do that, we're going to go back on track on the road to Captain Dragon. And in the no major skips run, we're actually going to get to see the entire Captain Dragon course. There is a place on this map where you can glitch out of bounds in order to skip certain parts of the level, but in the no major skip category that's not allowed, so we're just going to play the level straight through. The boomerang is doing so much good for us right now. It's the only magic item in the game that is not consumed upon use as long as you catch it after you've thrown it. So it's basically unlimited ammo as long as we don't screw up. Captain Dragon itself is considered by many the hardest boss in the game, and you'll see why in just a little bit. Now you'll see why he's the hardest boss in the game. I was actually lying, he's not the hardest boss in the game. Basically we can stun lock him, so every time you attack him he jumps to the middle. And if we just position ourselves we can just prevent him from attacking altogether. So now we farm a bit of boss coins, and once we've done that we're going to get cursed again and transformed into Lion Man, which is the strongest character in the game. His ability is that downward slash, as you just saw, which allow him to hit blocks that are underneath him. And with Mr. Lion Man we're going to go get the Tasmanian Sword. And what it does is that it allows for free transformations, so we can switch between characters however we want, and that is going to be a great help for us in the end game, where the game has kind of designed the level to be played with certain characters, but we can bypass that and fly through the parts of the stage. And thus saving a lot of time. So now we're on the hunt for the next boss, the Daimyo Dragon. And since we have the boomerang, this part is going to be a lot easier actually, because we can take down the samurai much faster than if we'd only had the blade. So this fight can be a bit tricky. Ideally, we want to stun him out of his attack pattern by jumping on him at the right time. That was actually a very good fight. So I'm not going to talk about how we could have failed that. But that was a good job. So now we become the Hawkman, and he can fly. So now we're picking up some last cash, and then we're going to go restock for the last time in this run before heading to the end game. And now we get to use that bonus key we picked up in the beginning of the game. And it saved us 200 gold and a couple of minutes of running. And we attempted to do a cool thing there, which we didn't manage to pull off, which is to create a block and then break it in the same animation just by switching weapons. Unfortunately, we couldn't, so we lost a couple of seconds there. We're at the final level of the game, and because we can switch character at will, we can just fly through this parts of this level, which saves a lot of time. And this this bullet hell screen is one of the most annoying screens in the game. Just enemies everywhere. We actually passed through that one really good. There's a chance or risk to get stuck bouncing around between projectiles, losing a lot of time. But that went fairly good. And for the last boss, we're going to be the Lion Man with the Muramasa. So we're going to be the strongest character in the game with the strongest weapon in the game. Which means that hopefully we only need to hit the last boss 4 times in order to end him. Alright, so we're on the last boss, and where and when he decides to come down is random, so we just chase after him and hope to catch him when he does. 2 out of 4 hits, 3 out of 4 hits. We're coming up on time when we pick up the Salamander Cross. It's time in the run, so I'm gonna call it. And time. Good. Woo. 32-17. That's okay. Yeah. So thank you for watching. Physica is the runner, and I'm his inner voice. Do you want to say anything before you log off?